This is Now Is Non-negotiable, your 10-minute reset to guard your thoughts, grow your faith, and win the war between you and your mind. Get ready as we dive right in. I am so glad you're here. Welcome back to the Now Is Non-negotiable podcast, where we make the present moment non-negotiable, lean into faith over fear, and dare to transform. Today, I want to talk to the version of you that is trying, the version that's changing, evolving, stretching, but still feels stuck. The version of you that wonders, why do I mess up if I'm growing, evolving, changing, and trying to be someone better? This episode is your reminder that transformation isn't a clean break from your old self. Your old self comes with you as you move, change, grow, and dare to do differently. When we commit to change, we expect to flip a switch. Like all of a sudden, a new version of us is just going to appear and arrive and it's going to stay. We expect to leave behind the old habits, the old thoughts, the old emotions. But here's the truth. Your old self doesn't leave. Your old self tags along with you. And as you grow, as you change, that old version of you, it's gonna bubble up. You'll hear that old voice whisper, "You're not capable. This is too hard. You're not ready." You'll start making excuses. "I'm too tired. It's taking too long. I'm not smart enough. I don't have what it takes." And then you're gonna get stuck in what I like to call the gap of crap. And I totally take that from the most amazing woman, Danelle Delgado. And that's that messy middle between who you were and who you are becoming. And instead of giving yourself grace, you give yourself grief. But this is where transformation becomes real. This is where you can do something so powerful to change that mindset, to keep you moving through your gap of crap, to get you to the other side of "I don't feel like it because it seems too hard." And that powerful thing is to actually celebrate when the old version of you bubbles to the surface. Yep, I mean, celebrate the old habits popping up. And the reason I tell you to do this is because it means you're no longer living in comfort. You're living in change. And God didn't call you to easy. He called you to purpose. So when the old you shows up, here's what I do and what I want you to try: the pivot method. I want you to pivot. I've mentioned this briefly in one of the episodes, but I think it's so important to recall, because when you start to feel stuck, when that old version of you does bubble up, it's important to be aware of what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and not continue to stay on that hamster wheel of "I can't, I won't, I don't have it in me." I want you to pivot so you can come off that hamster wheel and continue to transform, continue to grow, and continue to get on the other side of "I can't, I won't, I don't have it in me." Because on the other side of that is your greatness. So here's the pivot method broken down for you. First of all, I want you to become aware. Notice what you're feeling. See, your feelings indicate what you are thinking. It is impossible to feel good and think bad thoughts. It is impossible to feel crappy and think good thoughts. So when you are feeling something, when you're frustrated, when you're overwhelmed, when you're annoyed, when you feel like you can't keep going, I want you to be aware of that feeling and label it. Don't avoid it. Name it. Is it shame? Is it guilt? Is it frustration? Be honest with yourself. Be real. And then I want you to get curious. What thought is creating that feeling? If you have access to a journal or maybe the notes on your phone, write it down. Write down that negative thought that is flowing through your mind. I want you then to celebrate and thank God for revealing those negative thoughts that you are having, because that means that you are actually transforming. Reframe and rewrite that story and pivot. Take one small action towards who you are striving to become. Life isn't about perfection, it's about progress. I recently came across two wild statistics. 90% of people do not achieve their goals. That is crazy. And 92% of people, well, they give up on their New Year's resolutions within 3 weeks. If you're part of that 90% or that 92%, you want to know why you give up? You give up because you tell yourself stories that stop you. It's too hard. I'm too late. I'm too broken. I'm not enough. But what if that discomfort isn't a stop sign, but is actually a signal to keep going? I mentioned this scripture in one of my very first episodes, progress over perfection, and I have to bring it here again because it really is quite beautiful. It shows us that if you do not give up, you will reap the rewards. It's Galatians 6:9, and it says, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." And I absolutely love this because it's speaking to someone who's listening right now. It's speaking to me, and it's speaking directly to the season you're in. You grow weary because you care. You grow weary because you're holding expectations that God never gave you. You grow weary when you try to do His job instead of trusting His process. You grow weary because you worry about not being enough, and it's tiring. But your job is not to have it all figured out. Your job is to keep going. For in due season, we will reap if we do not give up. 90% of you give up. You stop pursuing your greatness. You start renegotiating with your future self. And if the old you is showing up loud and proud, I want you to stop. Label the feeling. Acknowledge the thought. Get curious and celebrate the fact that you have an opportunity to pivot, to reframe your negative story, and to give yourself grace. And most importantly, you have the opportunity to not give up, to be part of the 10% that keeps on going. Because that valley, that in between, that gap of crap, that's where God refines you. That's where character is built. That's where the real you is made. So don't beat yourself up. Be gentle with yourself. Be curious. Walk in faith and throw fear to the sidelines. And remember, now is all you have. And now is non-negotiable. So let's go. Be gentle with yourself through your transformation. Know that every single time the old version of you creeps up and those habits that die hard are bubbling to the surface, please know that that is the sign, the signal that you are transforming. Celebrate it. Decide to do differently and to keep walking the the path of discomfort, because that is where your greatness lies. Thank you so much for joining me. I think I actually kept this one at about 10 minutes. I will talk to you later. And for now, please, please, please be kind and be gentle to yourself.